Thank you very much. And I'm Omar Qaise, founder and CEO of OQ Technology, and also managing director of OQ Technology Hellas. Thanks, Frederic, for the nice presentation. Actually, Frederic followed the company and mentored it also since the very beginning, and we're very proud to have been successful with this, with our recent mission, as we are one of the 7 missions. So I would like to talk about why sovereignty is important for Europe in space. Because today, Europe is largely dependent on non-European infrastructure for satellite communication on low Earth orbit, especially. And that's a strategic vulnerability because with low Earth orbit satellite communication, all the future IoT devices, smartphones, alerting systems will be connecting to these backbone LEO infrastructure, and not owning them means outsourcing that strategic importance to other countries and not owning also the data. And of course, the war in Ukraine has shown that how satellite communication is actually a critical wartime infrastructure. It's not just for commercial communication. And with Greece being at the southern east edge of Europe and also neighboring very high tension zones, they are more exposed to this vulnerability. And that's what makes it more important to have such a sovereign infrastructure. And this actually today is a reality because with the recent launch of our Hermes-1 and Hermes-2 satellite missions, 2 satellites that have been manufactured here in Greece and operated from Greece, shows that having space sovereign capability is not merely a future ambition, but it's taking place as reality on Greek soil today. If we look also at the IoT aspect of communication, where you will have billions of devices connecting to low Earth orbit satellite infrastructure by 2030, you'll realize that how critical it is to have such sovereign constellation or infrastructure in European control, because without that, you cannot enforce or guarantee regulatory compliance and also data sovereignty, such as also regulations such as GDPR and so on. And that's why it's very important to have that in-house. And with OQ Technology satellite Internet of Things constellation, that the Greek satellites that recently have been launched joined our constellation, we're playing a critical role in offering IoT connectivity, not just in Europe, but also beyond that. And with Greece, 6,000 inhabited and uninhabited islands and the vast areas or rural areas that require connectivity, we can bring such service to Greece and to Europe and beyond that. And Greece is already, for example, its maritime fleet is IoT intensive industry, and using such benefits from such programs is of huge importance for Greece. Europe is taking a lot of measures in order to accelerate sovereignty, such as the IRIS² program. However, the timeline is tight. The competition is also moving very fast. And it's very important to look into this aspect. Europe, during the Galileo program, has shown the world what a resilient and high-class satellite infrastructure can be built if the right setup is available out there. And this is the same what we need for a LEO broadband constellation. And OQ Technology today, with its Greek-built satellites and other satellites, we're pioneering the direct-to-device sovereign infrastructure, but we are also trying to support other programs such as IRIS². Now, if we talk also about the other aspect, which is the emergency and alerting system, which is very important, especially during disaster and catastrophe. Outsourcing the emergency and alerting infrastructure of a country is like outsourcing its national security decisions. It's very important because during disaster, terrestrial infrastructure is compromised, and the only reliable and fast way of communication and alerting is through low Earth orbit satellites. So today, if we want to alert fire workers, first responders, or communities using satellite. There's no way to do that. The only company, European satellite operator today that can send an alert to your normal unmodified smartphone is OQ Technology. And a few weeks ago, we managed actually to achieve that as the first European company when we did a test to broadcast alert messages at the Cape of Tenoron in Greece, where there's no communication, and that was very successful. And we'll show you this in the next slide. So with Greece having actually not needing to imagine such a risk, it already happened in the past with the wildfires in Attica or Mati or during the floods. It's shown clearly the distinction and the difference between life and death when you have a slow and uncoordinated emergency communication between first responders, communities, and people. And this is something we're trying to eliminate by bringing this service to Europe, but also to the whole world beyond. And the last thing, which is very important, I mean, space today is the highlight. Everyone is competing for orbital slots in low Earth orbit and for spectrum, because on ITU level, as we know, it's all managed by first come, first serve. So if Europe delays, there won't be enough LEO slots available or spectrum for such a sovereign constellation. And this is why it's very important to move very fast. And what we have been doing with OQ Technology Hellas is really to build a constellation for the worst case. It's seen today that the average loss of communication during disaster in Europe is about 72 hours. And casualties could be reduced by 50%, and financial losses also, if there is access to cellular communication during disaster. And that's what we are aiming for. And as I said today, we managed to mark Europe's first by being the first LEO satellite operator in Europe to connect directly to unmodified smartphones using SIM cards, and also for IoT devices, drones, and other machines. And we're building the future today to connect to sovereign European assets, machines, and smartphones. So this is actually the site of the test where we carried it and complete. There's no coverage over there, and we managed to receive the alerting messages directly from a shoebox-sized satellite that we operate in our fleet. Finally, I'd like here to show you some of the tests we did, the first messaging test plus also one drone test. So let me see if this works. So we have the two phones now, the Google Pixel and the Galaxy, in flight mode. And I'm gonna disable the flight mode now and both phones, and we should be shortly receiving. As you see, we start receiving on the Galaxy, the emergency message. So that's coming directly from space.
We got it on the second phone.
OQ Tech Satellite Emergency Broadcast Test Message.
So my last words are, what do we need exactly? We need exactly the support for new space companies to create the environment where we could have multiple sovereign players and not just one monopoly. We need the support to push programs like R-Square forward very quickly in collaboration with companies also, especially with the D2D, because today the plan's only of having 8 lower LEO D2D and IoT. And further than that, also, we would like to have the policy and the government supporting startups in order to scale also. And the reality is that the government policy need to catch up with the entrepreneurial reality today, because for OQ technology, we don't wait for permissions. We're already building, and it's important for the government to make sure what's being built is used to serve Greece's strategic needs and the European sovereignty. Thank you very much.